25 years of media excellence. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Kukumlimle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including A1 Radio in Bogotanga, ATL FM in Cape Coast, and Volta Premier in Hull. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G, just a touch. And coming up, mixed reactions greets government's decision to ease restrictions on mass gatherings as churches and mosques prepare to open up.
Our form of prayer is time-bound and it's fixed. Then you have a difficulty even saying that you're going to have session-by-session prayer.
Those who will not follow, then the law will deal with them.
Meanwhile, public health experts are warning crowding could lead to mass infections, a situation Ghana's health system is not ready to contain. Also, opposition NDC accuses President Akufo-Addo of easing restrictions to advance what it describes as his election rigging agenda.
This decision is mainly intended to pave way for the Genensa-led Electoral Commission to carry out its rigging agenda through the execution of their needless and wasteful new voter register agenda.
We'll hear from the Information Minister, who is rejecting the accusation.
We are not taking a decision based on politics. If we were taking a decision based on politics, by now we should have done something else that allows maybe some sort of political activity.
Also coming up, finally, an actual apple tree successfully grown in Ghana after a plant rumored to be one turned out to be a fig tree.
This apple tree that you can see here was planted in 2016 after 15 years of continuous research work.
We have details as scientists at the CSIR ask for support to boost production of the fruit on Ghanaian soil. In sports,
good start from the Keto Kweku-led Ghana Football Association administration, that's according to former Black Stars defender Samuel Osei-Kuffour.
Perfect birthday gift, I'm sure. And on Spotlight this week, we put the focus on some of Ghana's music legends. We begin with the maestro Kojo Entry, whose craft is getting even better after more than 3 decades in the game.
I know that it's my mission. I was asked to come and do this. And so wherever you go, like Jonah, you can go and hide in the belly of the whale.
It will fish you out.
Destiny will find you.
And that's how come you're Mr. Music Man.
The maestro on Spotlight today and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. And this afternoon, government's decision to ease restrictions on mass gatherings has been met with mixed reactions. While some have welcomed the move, others believe the decision could have dire consequences as Ghana's COVID-19 case count crosses the 8,000 mark. In his 10th address to the nation, President Akufo-Addo said final year JHS, SHS, and university students can return to school. He also announced the reopening of churches at a 25% capacity.
With effect from Friday, 5th June, an abridged format for religious services can commence. 25% attendance with a maximum number of 100 congregants can worship at a time in church or at the mosque with a mandatory 1 meter rule of social distancing between congregants. In addition to the mandatory wearing of masks and hand washing facilities and sanitizers must be provided with a maximum duration of 1 hour.
Well, while most churches look forward to congregating after over several weeks of remote fellowships, implementing the new directives in the Muslim communities presents a huge challenge, according to spokesperson of the Chief Imam, Sheikh Karime Al-Shaibu, told Gifty Andropia on the AM show he foresees huge challenges for the Muslim community.
Our form of prayer is time-bound and it's fixed. It doesn't change. Then you have a difficulty even saying that you're going to have session-by-session prayer because the time is fixed.
Right.
And that sort of thing.
Right.
And secondly, our culture and tradition of worship is different. So, for example, if Chief Imam comes to Abosokai, you might have it's Herculean, to say, okay, only 100 people are entering, all of you now turn away and go back, or you are waiting. I mean, so I had mentioned that earlier on for caution.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that the details will have to be designed by the Minister of Religious Affairs. What it means is that I expect the Minister to invite inputs as to how we can effectively do this. Other than that, implementation at our level could create some difficulties, and that's why we said, for us, government should do a proper assessment of the risk. If it's proper to lift it completely, then let's lift it, and then we now observe the protocols.
Now, Chairman of the Christian Council of Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena is urging churches across the country not to rush into congregating if they genuinely believe a church is not ready. He also wants the law to deal with recalcitrant church leaders.
We are not in any way against all the protocols, the hand washing. We are not looking at a situation where you are going to throw away all these protocols, and then at the end of the day, people are infected and then they go to die in their homes. We are appealing to our members to observe the protocols that we ourselves put together and sent to the government. We will have to follow. Those who will not follow, but will want to do things contrary to what we have put forward and what has been given to us as way of preventing, then the law will deal with them. If life is at the center, then everything that we can do to preserve life, we should all be part of it.
That's the chairman of the Christian Council of Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena. Meanwhile, some public health experts are concerned crowding is almost inevitable and that may lead to mass infections. Head of the Department of Community Health at the University of Ghana Medical School, Professor Alfred Yorson, and virologist with the KCCR, Dr. Augustina Silverking, are warning crowding could lead to these mass infections, a situation Ghana's health system is not ready to contain.
Can foresee huge challenges in the circumstance and the way we are going, and especially just giving 1 week for all this to happen, especially for the churches and the mosques. How much preparation have gone in there, and as we are saying, our critical fear is the crowding, and that is where the challenge is. 100 people come in. How to manage it is really a test case that is going to be for us. And how do we manage it, especially when for close to 2 months we've been struggling as a nation to even insist on people wearing face masks.
As a leader, you should definitely advise your people that, look, this is for your own good. And even if you want to still go ahead and open up your churches, I think you should lead by example. Yeah. Because as a leader, you should learn how to wear the nose mask very well and how to remove the nose mask as well. Okay. If we want to register our congregants and somebody sits in front of you, will the person, for example, remove the nose mask and speak to you? Or I think a lot of things you may have to put in place.
Some health experts there speaking on the AM show earlier today, but we've been interacting with you, also gauging your thoughts on this matter, on the easing of the restrictions. Some of you shared your thoughts on the Super Morning Show today.
Let me start off from you. Are you going to the mosque this Friday?
Hopefully, I will.
The other time I was speaking to the spokesperson of the chief imam, he talked about some protocols that they will be rolling out. But you know that you have a personal responsibility to be safe. What are you going to do different when you go to the mosque this time around?
I'm sure washing of hands will be strict. Okay. You have to do it before you enter the mosque. So there will be nothing different. Just you wash your hands, keep your face mask on, and then the social distancing. Standing on the mat. Because when the COVID-19 had not hit, we stand close to each other. We make leg contact, shoulder contact, and all that. But now that has changed. So you have to stand at least 1 meter away from your brother or your sister. Okay. And the imam also have to have his nose mask on when he's giving the sermon. It will be a little difficult, but with the microphone, I'm sure the message can reach across the 4 corners of the mosque.
Okay. Voters registration when it starts, are you going to register?
Hopefully. Okay. But to me, my personal opinion, if the old one can be used, why not use it? Why risk our lives?
And the president has eased the restrictions. Are you going to church this Sunday?
Surely I will go to church.
You go to church? Okay. What will change when you're going to church?
Because I have to, my nose mask and this thing, I'm supposed to wear washing hands and those things. I'm supposed to make sure that everything is there If that thing is not there, maybe I cannot enter the church and I have to go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are those who, some people were kicking against the easing of restriction for churches because they do not think that the churches will be able to adhere to all the protocol. Do you think your church, which church? Do you think your church, ICGC?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think ICGC will be able to adhere to all the protocol?
Yeah.
Some public reactions there, interacting with my colleague Maxwell Agbagba. Apologies, I said it was on the Super Morning Show. But let's turn our attention to education because the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAD, says it is worried that SHS2, Form 2 Gold Track students have also been asked to return to school as Ghana begins easing restrictions imposed to halt a spread of the COVID-19. President Akufo-Addo yesterday announced phase 1 of its roadmap to open the country up.
Final year university students are to report to their universities on 15th June. Final year senior high school SHS3 students, together with SHS2 Gold Track students, on 22nd June. And final year junior high school JHS3 students on 29th June. JHS3 classes will comprise a maximum of 30 students. SHS classes a maximum of 25 students, and university lectures will take place with half the class sizes. All final year students of educational and training institutions, which are being managed by ministries other than the Education Ministry, are to return to school on 15th June to complete their exit examinations.
Now, speaking on the Super Morning Show, Deputy Education Minister in charge of basic and secondary education, Dr. Yawoseye Aduchum, said the implementation process will be announced soon.
He's given the broad indications of what he wants to see to make sure students have quality instruction in a safe environment. That is his goal. And then it is the Ministry of Education's Minister for Education responsibility to come up with the details and inform the public accordingly. So that space, as we speak, is left to the Minister for Education, and you give him time in the coming days and weeks to inform.
But even before that plan is outlined, NAGRAD President Angel Kabanu has been raising some red flags, especially on why Form 2 Gold Track students have also been asked to return to school.
When I listened to the President very well, I also heard that the Form 2 Blue Track are also supposed to be in school. And that was a little bit worrying to us because then we are beginning to increase the numbers from only the final years to the Blue Track Form 2. I would have expected that even we do not know how in situation. So why did we add for any group of Form 2 students to it? And I'm very worried about that. Because even with the Form 3 students, we are not too sure how we're going to handle the numbers and whether even these attempts that we are making is going to be effective.
That's NAGRAD President Angel Kabanu, and as we heard the President, final year tertiary students are also to return to school to write their exams. We've been speaking to some of them from the University of Ghana.
We all have not prepared for anything like going back to school. They insisted on the e-learning. We are on it. Now they want to change and go back to that thing.
I'm quite surprised because since we started this e-learning, it's been nothing but stress. And gradually we have all adapted to it. And just when we think we are completing with our online exams, he comes in to say that we should go back to school. I mean, how? This is so out of the blue.
With this new campus directive, I believe it's going to go a long way to help us final year students. Yeah, we are there to finish everything and then graduate in peace. It's going to help because at home, well, stress and everything. I'm sure the authorities on campus will also enforce social distancing protocols and the rest, so everything will be fine.
You heard some final year students of the University of Ghana seeking to join news. Now we turn attention to politics because the opposition NDC has accused President Akufo-Addo of easing restrictions to advance what it describes as its election rigging agenda. National Communications Officer of the party, Sami Jemfi, says the partial reopening of mosques and churches is only to allow the Electoral Commission continue with what it calls its rigging agenda. We'll hear from him shortly, but first listen to President Akufo-Addo when he announced the easing of restrictions on political activities.
Conferences, workshops, weddings, and political activities, except rallies, can now take place, but with limited numbers, not exceeding 100 persons present, with the appropriate social distancing and hygiene protocol. And constitutional and statutory bodies such as the Electoral Commission, the National Commission for Civic Education, and the National Identification Authority whose activities were exempted from the outset from these restrictions must conduct their activities in accordance with social distancing and the necessary hygiene and safety protocols.
While responding to the government decision to ease the restrictions at a news conference a while ago, Sami Gyamfi says the decision is not in the national interest.
The NDC has taken notice of the easing of restrictions on public gatherings by President Emefa. We are of the firm belief that this decision is mainly intended to pave way for the Emefa-led Electoral Commission to carry out its rigging agenda through the execution of their needless and wasteful new voter register agenda. It is very clear that the easing of restrictions was motivated by the president's parochial political interest and not the national interest. The fact that church and mosque gatherings are not supposed to have more than 100 people in attendance and are supposed to last for just an hour. But the NIA and the Electoral Commission have been given the freedom and the carte blanche to register an unlimited number of people from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's 10 hours. Shows clearly that the so-called partial reopening of churches, mosques, and schools was only a ruse to the president's main agenda.
But the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah has denied the claim that easing the restrictions was to enable the EC compile a new voters register. He spoke on Beyond the Lockdown show on the Joy News channel last night.
We are not taking a decision based on politics. If we were taking a decision based on politics, by now we should have done something else that allows maybe some sort of political activity. The president himself has had to suspend his political activities. Indeed, his regional tours, I'm very much aware that he had one of the regional tours slated about a week or two before the initial lockdown. He's had to suspend all of those ones. His party's activities have been suspended. So can wait. Human lives, the economy, subsequently, will take precedence over politics. But I've heard people suggest that the EC or the NIA are necessarily affected by some of the things that have been said. Yes, generally, the EC and the NIA are affected by all the things that we're talking about. And in the end, we expect that whatever the EC and the NIA come up with, especially in this year of elections, does not go to the detriment of the average Ghanaian.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah. Now, my colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson is at that news conference being organized by the NDC. He joins me on the line with more details. Now, Kwesi, the NDC, we understand, wants the Auditor General to conduct an audit into some expenditures under the Coronavirus Alleviation Program. What specifically do they want?
Right, so Emefa, the spokesperson on the Finance Committee as the forcing says this is basically based on accountability. They want government to account for every single penny they spent during the lockdown period. According to him, there are reports, especially in the Tafo Patrono area, where the MCE, according to Dr. Forson, you're told that diverted some relief items meant for the vulnerable. Again, he says that almost a month after the lockdown, government is yet to finish the country on how much it is spent during the period. And he is suspecting that government will want to massage the figures, and that is why they are still hiding the figures. And so they want the Auditor General to conduct a special audit into the funds earmarked for the relief items. We can listen to him.
The NDC calls on the Auditor General of Ghana to undertake a special audit into the expenditure of the amount of 280.3 million Ghana cedis that was allocated for the provision of food, water, and sanitation under the Coronavirus Alleviation Program, CAP. Specifically, we are demanding a special audit into the expenditure of the following priorities. Number one, we are asking that the amount of 40 million Ghana cedis which was allocated for the procurement and distribution of food packages and hot meals to the vulnerable in the lockdown areas be completed.
Now, Kwesi, we know that the party is also still raising concerns about the central bank printing the 10 billion Ghana cedis to finance the budget. Tell us a bit more about it.
Right, so Dr. Forson is convinced that the move is illegal and that it's going to hike inflation. Is something they are kicking against. We can listen to him.
You have my colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson. Now, Deputy Energy Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam has raised concerns about the appointment of a non-Ghanaian as new managing director of oil exploration firm Tullow. The company earlier this month announced the appointment of a former employee of British Petroleum, Wasim Al Monthiri, as new boss. It comes as current managing director Kweku Awotri prepares to retire by end of this month. But speaking on a yet-to-be-aired interview on Joy News' PM Express, Dr. Amin Adam says government would have preferred a Ghanaian to occupy that position.
Only have been informed so far about Mr. Awotri's exit. But as to who will replace him, the company will usually come and discuss with government. And we haven't received any delegation to discuss that yet. And so if we're already talking about a foreigner having replaced him, that is not known to us because officially we haven't discussed the replacement. But if you should have the company. Yes, but this is not official because we don't know about that. And we will insist that we have discussions on that to ensure that Ghana benefits.
So what the company has already communicated publicly, as far as government is concerned, cannot be official.
It's not official.
Until they discuss with government.
Yes, yes. And that is usually the practice.
But don't they have the final say on this matter as a company?
No, of course. I mean, we are partners. We are working together. Apart from the fact that Ghana has, a stake in the block through GNPC, this is a country where the activity is taking place. And government gives approvals, and permits for any company working in the oil industry. So we are a very important stakeholder. We are the host nation.
That's the Deputy Energy Minister, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, speaking on PM Express. The full interview airs at 9 p.m. tonight on the Joy News channel, also on all our social media platforms. However, Executive Director of the African Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boachi, says government may not have the legal basis to challenge this appointment.
I do not know of any law or regulation that actually compels Tullow to select a Ghanaian as its managing director in Ghana. What I do know is that Tullow did it on their own to actually contribute to the local content efforts of the country, and they have done that on 2 occasions. It could be a gentleman agreement between government and Tullow for that to continue, but I do not see any legal provision that can compel them to do what Ghana wants. But I think we should also consider interrogating whether it's a Ghanaian managing director we want, or the local content is broader than that, getting as many people as possible within these foreign companies.
Ben Boachi is with the Africa Center for Energy Policy. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We've been talking about the mixed reactions that's greeting government's decision to ease restrictions on mass gatherings as churches and mosques prepare to open up. Still to come, finally, an actual apple tree successfully grown in Ghana after a plant rumored to be one turned out to be a fig tree.
This apple tree that you can see here was planted in 2016 after 15 years of continuous research work.
And on Spotlight this week, we put the focus on some of Ghana's music legends. We begin with the maestro Kojo Ntwi, whose craft is getting even better after more than 3 decades in the game.
I know that it's my mission. I was asked to come and do this. And so wherever you go, like Jonah, you can go and hide in the belly of the whale.
Fish you are.
Best thing you find.
And that's how come Mr. Music Man.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Thanks for staying with the Midday News. You're enjoying 99.7 FM. Time for sports. Hans Mensah.
Hi, Emefa.
Hi.
And former defender Samuel Osei-Kuffour insists the new Ghana FA under the leadership of Keto Kroku is on track in changing the game, according to the former Bayern Munich player who served as a member of the Normalization Committee. Kurt and the Executive Council are doing well.
It's too short for us to judge him or to tell him, you had short time at the NC and you rated 100%. But listen, how long have you played in the game? The league is going on, right? Even without any COVID, the league has been continuing to play. There, at the end of the season, then we can judge him. I cannot judge him now. I cannot judge him because what I'm seeing, what he's doing, I think he's doing an amazing job. But I will judge him after the season. Or if anything from the national team go to a tournament, then I can judge him. Because I cannot stand here and just say that he's doing a bad thing. No, what I've seen so far, and the team that he's putting in place with his committee, with his people, I think so far so good.
Former Bayern Munich centre-back Samuel Osei-Kuffour speaking there. And for you Manchester United fans, forward Dion Igalo has extended his loan deal at Manchester United until January 2021. Igalo joined United in January from Chinese Super League side Shanghai Shenhua, initially until the 31st of May. That's your sport.
Thank you, Hans. Now, after years of battling snake bites to assess the only source of water available to them, the villagers of Bontibo can now heave a sigh of relief. People in the small village in the Nkwanta South district of Uti region now get water from a borehole built for them by Promasido Ghana Limited, producers of cowbell milk. As part of the company's 20th anniversary celebrations, it is building 20 of these boreholes across the country. My colleague Justice Bedu has been to these areas and find out what the difference clean drinking water can make in Bontibo.
Forgive Pogli hasn't made this journey in a while. Once upon a time, this was a daily routine. Now the road leading to the stream is bushy. She and her friend Millicent have come here because I've asked them to show me the routes that they walked for years to get water.
We have been seeing some snakes, they said cobra. We have been seeing them there, and the green ones. When we go, sometimes they'll be in the water or they are on top of the leaves.
This is Bontibo, the community where Forgive comes from. A rundown road network, no electricity, and no mobile telephony network.
So we've been looking for this for a very long time at Bontibo Junction. It has been their worry, looking for this pipe. Because of the situation, they've not been giving them.
It is the reason why villagers are gathered here to show what the change means to them. In 2019, Promasido Ghana Limited built this borehole here.
When I started campaigning, the people at Bontibo Junction said I should try to give them borehole. So when I saw them giving them the borehole, I was so happy because it's a dream come true.
In the past, the government have been promising us that they will build a pipe for us, but they didn't do it. So when this man came, he was working a company with cowbell. So when he came and told my grandfather that he will build a pipe, we did not believe him.
It was in response to many stories that the company had seen, especially from Joy News, on many communities across the country that did not have water. Promasido is aiming at building 20 similar boreholes across the country. Like Forgive, the people of Bontibo would now have a different story to tell. They would now drink safe water, thanks in part to the benevolence of a company that has put part of its wealth back into a community in desperate need. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Bontibo.
Yeah, Emefa, I'm sure you do not get tired hearing that voice, the unmistakable music maestro Kojo Entry. For more than 3 decades, the high life and reggae icon has been at it, doing great music that even people born long after his generation love. The man, Kojo Entry, Mr. Music Man, the maestro, is on Spotlight.
I know that it's my mission. I was asked to come and do this, and so wherever you go, like Jonah, you can go and hide in the belly of the whale.
It will fish you out.
Destiny will find you.
And that's how come you're Mr. Music Man.
For those born years after 1986 like myself, we probably have this man to thank for his rather timeless music, which teaches us all things: life, love, fidelity, marriage, you can name it. See, if you needed any advice and listen to a Kojo Entry track, I bet you will be just fine. Dozens of great tracks of his numerous albums: Don't Stop the Music, Densu, Tattoo, Love Classic, Supreme, etc. The legendary Julius Kojo Entry's powerful lyrics, his great voice, and his evergreen performances have kept audiences entertained for all these years he's been at this game. But this man did not rise to fame overnight.
I was fortunate enough to have started with a band called Boom Talent.
Boom Talent.
Boom Talent. We will learn everything that became a hit in the West, like The Kool and the Gang, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Mighty Diamonds, all the great songs that became hits, and we were entertaining the country with it. After some time, we had the privilege of traveling to Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin.
From Afropop to highlife to reggae, it is no surprise he is called Mr. Music Man. I know Kojo Entry has got something for the live stage performances. His annual Christmas concerts draw hundreds of patrons who leave with indelible memories of an experience worth repeating.
That's all you I can
My
sing.
favorite is Afafranto.
Oh, okay. So we dedicate that song to Keto Kreku
and then Daniel Domelevo.
Yeah, happy birthday.
It's their birthday today. And then is a big day.
Yeah.
We're having the election brief. We're rolling out a series of the election headquarters. It's
wrap.
at 1:30 p.m. with Arabakum Singh.
I can't wait.
And she's hosting Freddie Blake, chairman of the NPP.
Oh, wow.
You can't be anywhere else than be on the
Let me sing for them.
Please catch the election brief on the Joy News channel at 1:30 p.m. I'm Emefa Apawu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.